vibrations, sweet babies. Okay, we are amidst the solar eclipse. Okay, it is here until April 4th. A few short days, I assure you, with the way that time has been moving for me, friends. Also, hi, welcome. If you're just finding my videos, I appreciate having you here. I hope you are gelling, grooving, vibing with the insights that I share. I want to do just a really I want to say generic collective energy reading for this current moment here during the solar eclipse. I feel like we're all kind of there's been a lot of curiosity about what's kind of around the corner. And there is, I feel like, a flux of going back and forth between reminiscing and thinking about the parts of an old timeline that really, they create it's bittersweet. There's this nostalgic wanting those things to remain, but also knowing that or not necessarily knowing, but feeling a little bit of fear of if you let go of this timeline, what parts will remain, what really will remain. There's a lot of feminine energy showing up here. Crows may be symbolic. Feminine energy healing, understanding. Yeah, the energy that was coming through, 222 is showing up, 17 is showing up. Okay, so the energy that was coming through when I decided that I wanted to hop on here and record was for sure this element of needing to understand, yes, boundaries around giving and receiving. I think there was, it's so interesting. I know, the quick sidebar here. Over where I stay in my apartment, I really don't see many crows. I hear lots of other birds chirping. Friends, I saw a mountain lion. That was new for me. That was literally a very strange, I don't even really have words for that experience. I was like, what am I seeing right now? How is this possible? Because I really don't go seeking out, I'm not going into the depths of these forests or anything to see animals. And yet, granted, I live in Connecticut and there's plenty of nature around me, yet I somehow am seeing these really amazing animals as of lately. So I saw a mountain lion. I also saw an eagle again, a bald eagle, and it was soaring, and there was a speckled grayish black big hawk that was flying around it and kind of going after it, and kind of, I don't know, it seemed like maybe the eagle had grabbed something that the hawk wanted, or whatever, as birds do. I don't know how many of you really pay attention to birds, but my family's always been really into birds. I just have a lot of bird awareness. And what I notice is that usually like the bigger birds or birds of prey will like grab eggs or grab something from nests, and then these littler birds like try to like fucking poke and squawk, and it's mostly just squawking around them to see if they can get it to drop it. But it seems now when you really look at it like, oh, such a waste, because what are they like, it's this huge bird. What are these little birds really trying to do? And there might be symbolism to that. There might be some messages in that, like, you really need to forge your own path. I think there's an element of solitude and needing to understand your own this is so interesting, but with the lion energy, it feels very much like you need to build your own kingdom, like by like leaving an experience or leaving like a situation or an environment or something to literally, like, if this is not your kingdom, like, go make your kingdom. You know what I mean? Like that sort of energy coming through with the mountain lion of just like needing to forge your own path, right? Because they represent leadership, but they also represent the fact that they're not something that really, they're not an animal that really is found in packs often. They usually have more so like one or two, like a bond, and then they might have cubs, but then I'm pretty sure they leave their cubs pretty early. Like, they are just very much about independence and forging your own path. And they have a lot of beautiful symbolism, so that might be something worth looking into for you. But what I'm feeling with the bird medicine on top of that, friends, thank you so much for hanging in with my super in-depth reading, and I'm gonna make sure this all comes full circle. So with this, it feels as though it's like you've had to really put a lot of faith and a lot of like prayers up to the heavens around what that path might look like and what you want to see, I think, manifest. I think there's things that you've been planting seeds around, things that you are aligning with and calling in, and you really want to manifest these things for yourself. And in order to do that, you, friends, if you've been following along with this whole astrological journey we've been on, feels very much as though you've learned to surrender to the process, surrender to your path and to your journey. And it seems as though, there's this... this element of just like having to like let go, let God, like give it up to God, and like let these like prayers just soar truly. Because when I tell you that eagle was not flinching or budging, or it was just soaring so gracefully through the air, cutting through the sky. Meanwhile, this large hawk is like trying to do the most to like throw it off its course, and it is just not. And I think that really speaks to you and your path right now. Like, there may be things that are showing up and trying to throw you off course, and I just really see that you are having very deep boundaries. Okay, so the things that are trying to throw you off course are actually your own emotions. But you're trying to really have a lot of boundaries around this. So you want to be having a lot of fun, and that's great. that's fantastic. I'm always encouraging you to follow your bliss, follow your heart space. But the cards here do indicate that there's an element of distractions. What is fun should not be a distraction from your ultimate journey and your ultimate path, okay? We talked about this in a previous recording, and actually the energy of solar eclipse, I'm going to tell you this straight up for us collective, because what I'm feeling into and have been feeling into is learning aligned action versus distraction. This is actually something I feel like is going to be a much deeper lesson for us collective than maybe it might be to other people, because there's a sense of stability that is involved with this. Let's see. So, yes, okay. Going back to yeah. There's just this feeling of things wanting to distract you from what you were praying for, what you felt called to, felt purposeful towards. And it might be bringing up emotions that feel complex. I just feel like there's a lot of complexity to who you are in this current moment, to maybe what your circumstances are, or just something going on for you. It just feels very complex. There's a lot of depth. There's a lot of emotions. Like so it's not really a time to just distract yourself. Although, following your bliss and doing what feels good to you and feels joyful for you is actually really great. There is a lesson here being learned about stability. That's for sure what I'm feeling like. The bird medicine, because there's like so many crows. They're actually not cawing right now. But like, it's so interesting that whenever I drive over here, oh, there it is. That's wild. Whenever I drive over here, there's just like crows like looking down from like every tree in all angles, and just like murder of crows. Yeah. Super interesting. Super interesting energy around giving and receiving. It feels like there's just a shift in the dynamic for that right now. Like okay. So around the time of 1/1, you were definitely being asked to look at things that were distractions to you. Things that were not aligning with the purposeful energy that you were aligning into, right? We were getting these glimpses of like what was really powerful and important to us and made us feel purposeful and aligned on a soul level. And this might actually have related to how you showed up in connections. It probably had a lot to do with emotional stability, or the way that you were feeling was just very much guiding you in that point in time. There's also an indication here that the year 2023 might be important, but also the ages 23 or 26 might be significant. Significant in the energy of emotions, of fun, but maybe too much fun, distracting oneself, and just maybe with regarding boundaries in some way. And this energy was really becoming very clear for us around 1/1, around like who are just ready to just step into fully and completely, like, all BS aside. Also, I hope, I know I do have a bit of a sailor's mouth. Anchors here. I do have a bit of a sailor's mouth. I can only imagine that if you're here and if you're vibing with these messages, then, you don't mind. I'm really hoping that YouTube also doesn't mind. I don't really think about it that much when I'm just on here authentically sharing what's coming through for me. And, I have a lot of expression. Those centers are very open for me. Sometimes I have to reel those centers in a little bit. But yeah, I just have learned to kind of, maybe unmask, if you will. And maybe that's something that's like a journey for you, is like how to just let out whatever it is that wants to come out, and however it lands, it lands. And this is sort of my space for me to do that. But yeah, like, let's hope that YouTube doesn't get too upset with my sailor's mouth. Also, wouldn't be the first time your girl's been censored, okay? Censored, never silenced. That's right. So, you're on your path, you're on your journey, you're where you need to be. Right now, you're focusing on opening doors for yourself, finding opportunities that are going to lead to stability, something that's fruitful, long-lasting, can withstand challenges. And what I feel like this actually has more to do with is your own energy. I feel like, you just feel like there's a lot of possibilities for yourself at this current moment in time. You've had to have a lot of resilience on your journey, and you're just kind of looking to be in a place of like, you bloom where you planted, you've grown into something succulent. I know that's a funny way of thinking about it. Feathers may be significant for you, friends. But it just, this was sort of the other thing that was coming through for me too. But it's like, you are really inspired, I would say, right now, to just think about, again, this energy of giving and receiving, how your energy is being experienced and felt, being seen, visibility. There's like a lot of that kind of stuff showing up right now. And I can speak to this for myself, friends, like, absolutely, like, this is showing up for me. So it's really interesting. I am a model, and I feel as though I put myself in positions as a model to be literally seen all of the time. It's very much like just the nature of my job, it's just another day at work. Like, I just go and I'm in front of camera and there's lots of eyes on me and I'm doing crazy things, I'm doing crazy poses, like, wearing crazy makeup, whatever. And then that's sort of just the, like I said, another day at work. Like, that's just the nature of the job. But very, very seldomly do I feel like I am being seen, like fully seen. And what I'm realizing now, hello, baby. Why are you tiptoeing around? He's so funny. He's gonna get himself a snack. All right, so he decided to join us. He's lying right next to me. He is. it feels as though right now you're really looking at your own energy. You really want to, I don't know, there's something about the energy that you're looking to carry that is just a little bit different. And you've been through so many different things. You've really had to continue to, or maybe you're in this space right now where you're really having to like nourish your roots, nourish your soil, because it might be harsh conditions. That's what I'm going to say. Like it might be harsh conditions to really grow, like, I don't know, maybe a tomato plant, or, you know, I don't know, a pea pod. But that kind of soil might actually do really well with like a succulent or a cactus or something along those lines, and aloe vera. And I just feel as though, you know, you're really looking at your energy differently. You're looking at it as something sacred, not to really take chances with or be dicey with. You're really understanding that the cyclical nature of life really does bring things back around to you, and you're really being more intentional about the energy that you would want to put out into the world around you. This is really beautiful. This is a very healing, beautiful journey that you're on. This might look different, you know, depending on who you are, but this really, I see, has a lot to do with kind of like a kundalini rising, a lot of feminine energy healing, like very creative energy healing, life energy healing, creator energy healing, you know, bringing life to something. And what I was also feeling into, collective, was that you are birthing something into existence, and it's giving like magnum opus. That's what I'm saying. Like, very much like you are putting boundaries around what things you accept, what opportunities you take, yeah, it just feels like you are in a place where you're understanding. Oh, buddy, you all right? Ooh. You know, he didn't really seem like his usual spirits today, and I wonder if he has a stomach ache. What, baby? How you feeling? Okay, where was I? Yeah, you are realizing that, you know, you've got to be really intentional, because, you know, you are your energy, you are the choices that you make, and the energy that you give out is what's going to come back to you in some way, some shape, some form. What the heck is this? The things that you're looking to achieve are just going to require you to be a little bit more preserving of your energy, intentional about where your energy goes. And, you know, I think you're really putting a lot of energy into something that you're passionate about. And, you know, this is how you pour into yourself. Water is healing for you right now. Drinking a lot of water is really going to be healing for you right now. I think if you can take a bath, fantastic. If you can just take like very cleansing showers, amazing. If you can get to oceans, for some reason I was feeling like salt water is really going to be, beaches, shells are significant right now. Anchor is significant right now. For some reason I'm feeling like pink long nails, or just like long acrylic nails, might be symbolic for somebody. And it just feels like very, I don't know, self-care, like, I'm not really sure, but I think there's just, this is going to sound funny, but for my glamour witches out there, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, there is something about the way that you're doing your nails right now that's going to make other people smile, or it's going to create conversation, or people are just going to be, they'll just mention something about your nails, and it might spark conversation, and it might like align you with interesting or cool people. This is such a random message that just came through. But anywho, yeah, I just feel as though you are very much like pouring into something. So yeah, drinking a lot of water and replenishing yourself, because it feels as though the whole giving and receiving energy, that I keep mentioning back, is that it was just out of balance in some way, some shape and form in your life. There was just either a role or dynamic or some kind of something in your life that was just so polarized with how much you were pouring into something or how much you were taking from something. That's up for you to discern which end, you were at, because, we can sit here and pass judgment all day long, but at the end of the day, they're both struggles. Like, just pick your struggle. Like, whichever one feels more cozy to you is your own journey. That's your own thing to work through. But truly, either way, there is something to be tended to in that, because there's a level of reciprocity that I think we all need in order to feel that sort of grounded stability that we're looking for. Yeah, I'm curious a little bit more about that. So there's for sure this feeling of like, I feel like around the time of 1/1 or yeah, there was just something that was making you really think about like what you could be calling in, right? And we were talking about this, and I did mention it could have something to do with your dynamics, and it's like succulent, like that's the word that I keep coming back to. Like, it is juicy, like it is plentiful, like it is like soaking you up. It is like nourishing, yes, right? And it gave you this like sort of vision of what you could really be having and what you could really be feeling. And like I said, there is an energy of like kind of fluxing back and forth, right? Of feeling like, oh, but I want to take these things with me, and I really liked who I was and how I was in dynamic in that time in my life. But then there's also like, you keep having this like or not even currently, but you did, like, you already got the vision back around 1/1 of like what you actually feel aligned with on a soul level, and what really feels good and groovy and delicious and like nourishing in your spirit. And like let me slow down because that's what it was. You were like, oh my God, like, whoa. It like makes you like pause, it makes you slow down, it makes you like savor, okay, savor. Now, you had that notion of what was possible and what you were wanting and calling in for yourself, but you also knew that this was going to really, really require you to look at your boundaries around how you handle certain emotions, situations, certain connections, certain dynamics. That might have all actually really required you to change. Like, a lot of that had to be changed and shifted and let go of. You saw why during Mars retrograde. You were asked and initiated to during eclipse season. Like, you have been in this process of evolving into who can really have those things, who can really call in and hold space for and sustain those things, right? And yeah, it's asking you to move at a slower pace, okay? Move at another pace so that you can, and have patience, right? And when you feel into that moment, like yield, like stop trying to like breeze on through this. Like I'm getting a lot of car symbolism. I'm getting a lot of like roads, highways, that sort of symbolism. And it feels like, you know, when you savor it, I don't know, I can't explain it other than just savor the moments, slow down. If you're going on drives, freaking cruise your way through it. 111 is showing up. I don't know. 47's also been showing up. I just have this feeling of like a lot of like looking back and realizing you really want certain things that make you feel very nourished, very like just juicy, like sensual in life, and just feel like you are really tapping into that. And there's an element here of like, don't give up on that. I do think that that is something that is manifesting and taking shape for you currently, now that you've really shed your skins and stepped into, you know, the version of self, like I said, who can hold this. And this required you to stop being consumed in some way. Ooh, that's a new bird sound. That's the best way that I can explain it, right? Because I'm getting this energy here of like, you want like to be like enriched. You want to be like in this juicy, savoring, like nourished, like just beautiful energy of your life, like calling that in. It's something that feels really good and really aligned to you, and you got a glimpse of it, you were feeling into it, you were aligning yourself with it, right? But there was this something, right? We had to shed skins, we had to let go of something. There was a lot of identity stuff that was showing up around, you know, how we were relating to things, how we were relating to a story that we used to tell ourselves, to a timeline that we existed in, to a version of self. And in that shedding of skins, right, we were able to see that we were consumed. Something was consuming us in a way that was really keeping us from having exactly what we wanted. And, you know, hindsight's 2020, right? I'm going to pull just a few more clarifiers. But what I'm seeing is that whatever you're doing right now, for following your bliss, connecting with just really understanding your energy and how precious and how sacred it is, how many opportunities you can really open up for yourself when you're noticing how sacred your energy is and what you give energy to. Fire signs maybe is significant here. Yeah, there's just like a lot of signifiers here for travel. Friends, I will say a lot of these audios are pre-recorded. I try to release them based on when I'm feeling into. So like right now I am recording for, so, okay. Right now I am recording during the solar eclipse. I would like to have this up during the solar eclipse, right? But usually I'll just like do readings and feel into the current energy and like share it and schedule it whenever I just feel like I want to share it and schedule it. I do try to keep things in pretty much of like a chronological sequential order since we are really undergoing a journey. But before that, it was really feeling like, just getting very much insights, bursts of, symbolisms that I was sharing, and they would like kind of come up and I would post them, and those are all like pre-recorded. So my point is, I am doing a lot of pre-recording during the spring equinox, pretty much all through eclipse season. I was doing a lot of pre-recording, and I'm trying to keep them as sequential as I can for us friends, because I am going on tour. Literally, it's about to be April soon, so mid-April I will be on tour. Yes, your girl managed to work around Mercury retrograde for her travel plans. Okay, so I will say that putting together all of the bookings and traveling and all of that was a little bit tricky. It just felt like conversation was like a lot of breakdowns, a lot of like, oh fuck, I forgot to send that email, those types of things. Conversation was just moving slow, but I was able to kind of navigate a pretty good game plan for my tour starting next month. And then pretty much all spring into summer, I'm going to be in various places for my job. I'll have moments where I'm back in my hometown, kind of grounding, probably pulling cards and what have you when I'm doing my thing at home. But yeah, I've been kind of cocooning. I've been kind of like nesting a little bit during this like slow transition into spring, because it's been pretty chilly for most of March. We had some really nice warm days scattered about here in my area, but it's been pretty chilly. So I have just been making my game plans, prepping this travel, but I will be releasing my pre-recorded readings during my travels, so that we can, stay aligned with the energies that we're feeling into. And like I said, in my moments when I'm grounding and relaxing between my tour stops, I'm going to, of course, be connecting with my cards. I plan to bring my cards on my tour as well. That is just always so fun to see who like is interested in a reading and how they receive it. But yeah, that's a good way to circle back. Like this whole energy of being received, right? Because like I said, I have been on set, I do my job, right? And I might be like literally visible, right? I'm seen. But people don't see me. They aren't seeing me for who I am. They're seeing me for how my hair is done, how my makeup's done, the outfits that I'm wearing, those types of things, right? So what I learned through my modeling journey, which has also been very much been an empowerment and self-discovery journey, to say the least. But I've noticed that visibility really doesn't mean much of anything, actually, when you aren't being felt. So I taught a lot of women with my time as a life coach, how to be seen, how to put themselves out there, how to release fear of visibility and go and like, take up space and express. And that is really powerful, right? When you deal with fear of visibility, it means like literally making yourself so small that you like lose yourself. And what I'm feeling into is that now for myself, collective, and probably for you too, there's this feeling of like, or not even feeling, there's this longing for being felt. Being seen is great, but if you're not being felt, if you're not being really experienced and understood and seen and treasured and valued and received, that is still, it's very disheartening is what I want to say. It's very disheartening, and it feels like it puts you it pulls you away from yourself, in a sense, because there's a lot of probably outside perspective of who you are if you're visible, right? And you've learned how to have this strong sense of your individuality, your strong aura. You might have a thick skin, and you've learned how to protect your energy, right? But you've learned how to protect your energy so well, friends, that now you're not letting anyone have it. Now you're not letting anyone experience it or feel it. It's too treasured. It is too sacred. And yes, it is. Yes, it is, right? Something in your life made you feel overly consumed. Something was consuming too much of your energy, or there was some kind of experience in your life where you had this realization of how much something had consumed your mental energy, your physical energy, your time, your resources. It just had taken up something, and I'm talking for a long time. Okay, this is a journey that you've been going on individually for yourself for a long time. And what we really thought, because it is all part of the same journey, was that we really thought it had so much more to do with being seen and putting ourselves out there, and like, okay, yeah, I'm really good at being the center of attention, but why do I still feel like, like that kind of stuff. It's been a journey of you like trying to understand like this giving and receiving of energy, and it's really been a lot more around heart space healing, vulnerability, reaching the heart of heart, feeling like, that personal safety in order to be felt and to really feel and receive the kind of connection, intimacy. I'm actually surprised that intimacy didn't show up. There might be some like narcissistic healing, meaning like you may have experienced something to do with a narcissist. Something narcissistic was happening to you, and you are having to now kind of heal through a lot of stuff regarding the self, personal identity, feeling like how you open doors for yourself, feeling like how you cope, how that was a conversation that was coming up a while back, but like of how you cope, how you distract yourself, what kind of fun you have. It just feels like there was a lot of like risky energy at one point going on. And it just like, maybe there was something that was an affliction, or maybe something that was like just a struggle with your finances. Like something was just taking up so much of your resources, so much of who you are, or not who you are. It was keeping you from feeling like you could really fully step into who you are, because there was just this like thing that was just draining you leeching you from your creator energy, okay? Something around the time period of Mercury retrograde, I want to say like there was actions made or decisions made, conversations maybe around this thing that I think are going to be significant. But yeah, you've just seen how much of a waste of time all of that was. You've seen how much of it, like how it's, my stomach is really a mess today. I'm not even gonna lie. I am in my moon flow, and your girl woke up all kinds of uncomfortable. But I also woke up feeling like super tapped in and tuned in. So that's why I had to race here and hop onto this audio recording so that I could share what was coming through for me. But I'm gonna have to go tend to my body here in a moment, which is what I was explaining to you before. Like, there's a lot of feeling of like you just really need to take care of yourself and take care of your body and nourish yourself, right? Because it feels like you're really healing a lot of your creator energy, understanding that you really can create your world around you, your possibilities. You're seeing how influential your energy is to your own life and to the doors that you open, and what things really come, I want to say world card or like Wheel of Fortune card, like come around full circle for you, and what you're able to call in for yourself. So that's something that you're really being very intentional around right now. But I do also see that you kind of, there's like this flux energy. It's like the dichotomy. It's like giving and receiving, but it's also like, yeah, being cautious and being very discerning about your energy and what things you give energy to, while also recognizing that like the energy that you put out to the world is like going to come back to you. So you're like, how much energy? Like, there's just kind of this back and forth. And that way also I see like, wanting to have fun and wanting to enjoy yourself and follow your bliss. But maybe right now you're actually like rediscovering what bliss even really means to you and what fun even really means to you, because in a lot of ways fun for you in the past might have actually just been more so distractions. So the one last thing is like, yes, go rediscover fun. Go discover fun for yourself again in the way that is pure, that is innocent, that is wholesome, because that's what you deserved. Whatever was consuming you and pulling you into these ways of fun that were actually pulling you away from your soul's purpose and what really feels aligned with you at a soul level, which you have been reconnecting back to as of recently, there is just this like almost inner child, very innocent like quality to you that's showing up right now, collective. And it's very much like, I want to have fun, but like not in the ways that all these people are trying to tell me like that's what fun is. Like, it almost seems like now that like, a lot of things around you, a lot of people around you have not been conducive to you actually having like a really joyful, pleasure-filled, abundant, prosperous, opportunistic, beautiful, succulent life. And that's really upsetting sometimes to think about. But you are rediscovering now what that really can mean to you and what that should have, I'm saying should on them, not on you. I don't like to should on people, but there just should have been measures taken to preserve that sense of innocent joy, whimsy, wonder that you were trying to come back to and connect back to. And I see you kind of reflecting back to a time maybe when you did have that sort of connection to just like a very pure childlike jubilee that that feels really good to you, that feels like really important to you, because it's important for us to play and have fun. Like, Play is something that our species has done from the dawn of time, and we don't really have a reason to want to do it, but we just do. We have this innate purpose to like experience joy, and when we experience joy, we have all this energy and movement, and we want to connect, and it's like play. That is play, and it's beautiful when we're not trying to exert that energy or utilize that energy in unhealthy, toxic, distracting kind of ways. And I just see you really having a lot of boundaries with that right now, and just being like, that doesn't like do it for me. Like, that's just not fun to me, and it would put you in this position on your path that like you know better. Like, you just know better. And for yourself, right? Maybe for other people, they're at a point in their path where they can go and do all of those things. Like, for me, I'm very much like feeling, and I'm going to wrap this up with you friends with this. Like, I'm very much feeling like called back to this very like, where's Hannah? Like, oh, she's in the woods probably, you know, like, or I'm in like my Frodo era. I'm like acquiring precious minerals and crystals and rocks, and like I'm in the woods and I'm off on an adventure, and I just connected with like a wizard who told me like this extremely beautiful thing, and now I keep seeing this beautiful thing all over the place. And it's like, yeah, I went through what I like to call a wormhole moment in my life a couple years ago, actually, maybe when I was 23. Wow, look at that. Holy smokes. That's crazy. That's crazy bananas. When I was 23, I refer to this time period as the wormhole because no time made sense to me. It moved really fast, but also really slow. I did so many things. I met so many new people, some that I still know and talk to and connect with to this day, other people who I will never talk to again. You know, I made a lot of mistakes. I learned a lot of things about myself. And that was a really interesting time period for my life. Very interesting. But I would say that it was also really pivotal for me connecting to the magic of life and like what happens when you just decide to have a new dynamic with life. If you just decide like, you know what, I'm going to follow the whimsy today. You know, I could follow the weather. I could follow the politics. I could follow whatever, but I'm going to follow the whimsy today, and I'm going to see where that takes me. And you might end up in some of the most absurd experiences you'll ever experience in your life, especially if you're hanging out with someone like myself, which is why I myself have to be mindful of like, okay, I know how to have fun. I don't need to prove that to anybody or myself, right? In fact, it might actually be better for me to learn how to have like more simplistic joy, simplistic fun, and like go take a hike and like pour into my artwork or things of that nature. And this might be a space that you're kind of relating to as well, a collective of just being like, what do I really find fun? What is really joyful and really good for me that is not going to pull me away or distract me from my soul's purpose? What feels really good and juicy and succulent, that it feels nourishing, that I can devour, right? Instead of something being so consuming of me, consuming of my mental space, consuming of my energy, consuming of my creator, sexual expression, you know, lively energy. This decision to no longer be available for consumption in that way is opening a door for you to be so abundant in like fill in the blank. It feels like you, like I said, you're birthing like a magnum opus type of thing into your reality. And I really am so excited for you to see what maybe 1212 is showing up, to see what maybe you do for yourselves if you'll have me. But I'm also super stoked to share what I will be up to. Like I said, my tour is going to be just so fun. I'm so excited to get on the road. I'm so excited to be around my network. I'm really finding my fucking tribe of models around me. You know, we are something, you know, and I love their energy. I love being surrounded by those people. They make me really feel like there's so much possible. You know, it's so beautiful to be around people who encourage you to just know, like, there's so much possible for yourself. There's so much out there for you. And, you know, in these ways of, like, really soul aligned, like, stick to your mission, stick to your purpose type of energy. Never give up is also here in the cards. Okay, friends, I'm going to leave it at that, and I'm sending you lots of love in.